tuning in to KBOB 89.9. I know you are enjoying the vibes and you're enjoying the tunes, but it is now time to tune in to the Black Love Club.
It's the Black Love Club, we on the radio. Turn the speaker up. You could tune in this live stream, but vibing and dial into the station. Join the conversation. Hey yo, say the Black Love Club is on the radio. You could tune into the live stream, just vibing and dial into the station. Hey yo, yeah, the Black Love Club, we on the radio. And welcome back, y'all, to the Black Love Club. You guys, I'm your host, Nikki Kelly, and I have Richard Roots and Edgar Prime in the building, you guys. I am so excited, y'all, for today's show, you guys. First, y'all, today it has been extremely hot. Like, we went from like some really nice days. Shout out, look at Mickey Minnie in here. April is in the building. Shout out to you guys. And y'all, like, it was so hot today. It got up to 94 degrees out here in Tulsa, y'all. And like, this weekend has been really nice and really fun. We was at the Mayfest all weekend. And that's, if you're not in Tulsa, that is a music festival that it showcases like a lot of local musicians and artists and stuff like that who are really good. And also Maya, she had headlined on Saturday night. Yes. So yeah.
And our very own Uncle Bobby Eaton opened up for Mayfest for Maya, which was a phenomenal performance as well.
Yeah, that was really nice. We enjoyed it. We were jamming. Look, y'all, we had a good time. I didn't stay for Maya though. We have little kids, and one was asleep in our little wagon, and the other one fell asleep while holding him, and it was like, okay, it's time to go. It is time to go. You know.
Oh man, I'm sad I missed it.
Yeah. Oh, look, we had passed and we saw you.
We did.
Yeah,
Y'all, we had the scoop that Charleston White was going to be here in Tulsa.
Oh yeah.
So we pulled up on him. We got a little mini interview, but I got the scoop on somebody else too, and I'm trying to pull up on him tonight. I ain't gonna say who, but we'll see if I get it. If we get him, we're gonna post it.
If you see the video, it happened.
It happened.
So yeah, I'm really excited about today's show. Just like you are excited, April. Shout out to you, always tuning in, always ready. But how was y'all week? Besides the heat.
Oh man, the heat's been kind of wild. I don't know. For me, that gloomy, rainy weather just tends to kind of mess with me. I don't know. I didn't sleep very well, and so I wasn't feeling as great or really myself for a few days. But one thing that I've been trying to be in the habit of is being intentional. So one of the things is like, going to the gym. I've tried to get out of the habit of accepting excuses for not going, whether I'm not feeling good, whether I feel like I don't have the time. I try and make the time and go. And what I've noticed is more often than not, by the time I get to the gym, just getting there, I already feel a bit of a sense of accomplishment. Just, hey, I got dressed and I showed up. But after the workout, I feel typically better, overall. Physically, mentally, I feel better. I feel ready to kind of tackle things moving forward. So, yeah, it's all about being intentional.
Yeah, definitely. We've been in the gym too, so we got back into the gym. Actually, I'm feeling the back in the gym feels all right here. I'm doing strength, a lot of strength and building muscle exercises. Not too bodybuilderish, but definitely I'm trying to build some strength. And y'all.
Yeah, every day is leg day for me.
Every day is leg day.
Yeah, I'm still recovering.
So he can't work out anything else with them legs.
Yeah, y'all. So I'm gonna be one of those memes. Yeah. What people taking pictures of me saying we can tell he didn't miss leg day because the bottom part gonna be big and The
Oh Lord, that's gonna be sad.
upper body is gonna be this.
That's gonna be sad.
But you got to keep the grind though. I think that discipline, that form of discipline is good, always good for men.
For everybody, because I definitely need it. I need to be in the gym, you guys. But we can go ahead and tune in and dive into the news section of the day, you guys. And first of all, the news, there has been a lot of things going on in the news, which has been insane. If y'all have been watching social media lately, it's been blowing up, especially with the Diddy and Cassie the lawsuit and everything that's going on, right? So Cassie has been in the stand, and she has been giving her testifying on what has happened and different things like that. And you know, her recent testimony from Cassie is having several people divided on whether Diddy is, you know, guilty of sex crimes and stuff like that. Because we know Diddy, he was in there. And for a while, I haven't talked about it because I wanted to hear more things on what was coming out. But it has people divided because from her testimony, you know, one thing that is for certain, everybody is like, well, you know what? He's definitely wrong for hitting her, you know, maybe for verbal abuse or whatever it may be. He's definitely wrong. But several people are on the fence, and they're saying that the sex crimes were not his fault, basically. That she is, you know, she was a consenting adult and different things like that. And, you know, they went deeper into, you know, that she set up everything. Sometimes he wasn't even there and she was setting things up for herself and different things like that. So it was like, well, is it really his fault? The case is not over. She did go back today and gave more. His kids also was there too. So all of his kids were there. So as a child, I'm listening to this. It was some wild stuff being said. I sat there and read, and I just was like, this is some wild stuff being said. I would not want my kids, if I was Diddy, up and like, get them out. Like, that's embarrassing. It was really crazy. But definitely, that has a lot of people on the fence. You know, I'm waiting to hear a little bit more about it. I definitely, you know, I do believe victims go through a lot of things and stuff there. There is a lot of emotional trauma and different things that may happen. But also sometimes, you know, I'm going from what she said. I'm kind of like, well, you know, I'm a little on the fence too as well, because some things it does seem as if she knew what was going on,
You know,
and she enjoyed it.
You know, I'm not gonna in any way, you know, take a stand for Diddy. Some of the allegations are kind of wild, and like you, I want to hold out for more information.
Yeah.
But I would like to point to this. It's a little concerning. Oh, I guess it's more than a little concerning that we live in a day and time where it seems as if women aren't really culpable for their actions. You know, and that's a very dangerous precedent to set, especially with the amount of years that's involved in some of these allegations. So, like, if they've been together for 10, 15 years, you mean to tell me that you were a prisoner for this whole time? Like, there was at no point any time to do anything about any of this stuff was going on? At what point are you just part of the process? You can not like it. You can wish things were different, but to basically kind of throw everything all on this man, I think is a very malicious thing to do. And it reminds me a lot, kind of like what happened to Shannon Sharp. Is, again, he was in a 2-year consensual relationship, and then all of a sudden, these things that they did them behind closed doors. That was their business. Now it's aired in front of everybody to kind of paint him as this terrible person. I'm saying we don't know the whole story. There's always his side, her side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. Mm-hmm. So I'll be careful to paint innocence onto someone, but I think especially for men, black men, I think especially, there seems to be that loss of innocent until proven guilty. It's almost as if any allegation of any kind is coming up, we are just basically supposed to get out here and try and defend ourselves and prove it's not true.
Yeah.
Like DDG is in the works because of
I was actually about
his
to bring
son
that
Halo.
up. Yeah.
You want to go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, so Haley Bailey and DDG, they're back in the spotlight now, and this time it is because she allegedly said that she said that he allegedly assaulted her, and left bruises on her. She had pictures with bruises on her arm and on her side. Also a picture of a chipped tooth. She said that he did these things, by smashing her head into in the steering wheel and different things like that.
Who is he? Is he a rapper?
He's
a streamer.
Mostly, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so
that
he
does
did some
rapper
rap.
content.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
He just released an album.
yeah, he started off like as a YouTuber or something like that. So, but it's so many things going on. So she has a restraining order on him, and I bring this up because it's really sad because he can't come within 100 yards of her and their son Halo, and it's really a lot of outrage because there's fans who are saying things that are saying, oh, that's why, Haley should have left him a long time ago. We were saying you should have left him. He was like, a dusty or whatever. Also then his family is, seemingly it looks as if they're insinuating that it is false and that stuff she is saying is not true. So it's kind of like, these are false claims and stuff like that. Now, I bring this up because this leads me to ask the ladies, if the man is disrespectful to us, is it okay at that point for us to withhold their child from them? Because for me, I noticed a lot of things he said in the past in the media was basically like he posted things like free Halo, different things like that, like saying, she won't let me see my child, blah, 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 and it's most likely is because of their disagreements or whatever's going on, right? But is it okay that we just withhold our children from their father just because we have, grievances and we're upset with each other and we're no longer in love or whatever? For me, I feel like that's very sad for the child. That destroys the child because now you mess up the bond and the direction that the child needs from the father, so especially if they're not doing anything to the child. What you guys think? Richard?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't have anything else to add.
I mean, I completely agree. I think it's I completely agree with your stance on it. I just think it's unfortunate.
Very.
It does leave men in a situation where there's not a lot that it just kind of makes that hurdle even harder. We can say all we want about the black man and trying to get him to be there for his children and trying to get more nuclear families, but at the end of the day, it takes two people to do that.
Yeah, that was it's real saddening because I feel like it destroys the image of black love, because I feel like we should still be able to co-parent in a way that still honors black love, even if, because black love is not just within a marriage or anything. It's even after the marriage or after the relationship is gone. Whatever happens, is still being able to, if you have kids, to be respectful to each other, to be able to work together. That takes a lot of restraint, maybe a lot of times, because maybe something happened that probably wasn't too great. But at the same time, I feel like it still honors black love, and it honors that child that you brought in the world, just so that they can see an example of how it's supposed to be. My mom and my dad wasn't together, but my mom will be at all the events and she showed such a great example of what it should look like. And they never, I've never seen any like bad vibes between them. Like, she still talks to his family to this day, because like her and her family, like they grew up together, and then my mom and them started dating, so she's still good. So it wasn't like, oh, you stopped dating him, so we ain't gonna talk to you anymore, like that weirdness. It was like it's still good. So I just felt like that this is what's happening is damaging Black love, especially that this stuff is in the media. Ebony Jones said no kids need their fathers regardless. April said no, I don't think they should keep the child from the father because the child needs support from their father, the masculine from their father, and the child shouldn't suffer because of disagreement between the mother and the father. And that is so definitely true. But in lighter news, but it's kind of lighter and whatever. But Rynell Sheridan, he is the father from That's So Raven. He was having some issues that they thought was gastric issues or whatever. But it ended up kind of going to pancreatitis. And I just wanted to shout this out because even though this is, sad, he's going through treatments and stuff like that. I really love that, like, the community showed out for him. He had to start a GoFundMe because obviously he wasn't working. And I mean, 35,000 goal, he's at 83,000 and it's still growing. So that's just shout out to the community just for showing up for him at a moment where it could seem very like hopeless in a situation like that. You're in a hospital bed. You're, was once this big, celebrity, and now you're asking for a GoFundMe and the community show is out. So I love stuff like that. But all right,
that goes to show you how real the struggle is for these celebrities. It's hard. Like once you get a real big gig, if you can't land nothing after that, then I mean it's hard. He had to make a GoFundMe for 35. It was like $35,000.
Yeah, he's at 83,000, which is beautiful, very beautiful. I'm so excited for him, and pray for healing and everything for him too. So, all right, Richard Roots, what is the topic for today?
The topic for the day. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Love Club on KBOB. Today we're going to be talking about 100 men versus one gorilla. No, I'm joking.
Oh my gosh.
No, it is 100 men. See, I done messed myself up, y'all. It's 100 red flags versus one fine face. Now, before I get into the topic and let y'all attack, some people are thinking, easy. I can pick 100. I can pick one fine face. No, wait. I can pick a person with no red flags and doesn't have a good-looking face, but statistically, that is not true. So I'm gonna ask you guys, Nikki Talks, and Aga Prime, and everyone in the chat. I just put in the chat. What are some red flags for men, and what are some red flags for women when dating? So I'm gonna start with you, Prime, or do you want to let ladies be first? What are some red flags we will find in men?
Okay.
We helping the woman out now.
All right. So red flags in men are lateness. If he's chronically late, that's usually a bad character flaw. It tends to show a lack of respect either to other people or themselves.
I like that.
Sloppiness. So, if they are, I don't know, chronically unpresentable is the best way I would describe it. Even especially when you're going out in public, like they don't know how to read the room. They don't know how to dress for the circumstance or the situation. That's typically a red flag. How he is viewed by his circle and the quality of his circle. So if you see him with a bunch of ruffians, that's typically a sign of birds of a feather flock together. That's not to say that they're all bad, but it is something to be mindful of and look forward into. And then also, how does his circle view him? Is he the butt of the joke? Is he a decision maker? Is he the follower? Is he the one who's constantly getting picked on? Is he the one, picked as the unreliable one in the group? Those are all indicators of character because these people are going to know him the best. And how they treat him, how they view him is a good example of how society in many ways will view him as well. Ambition is always important, but more so than important, it's the intention. It's how often does he say something and do it.
That's good. I mean, those are some very good points. I hope y'all are taking notes. If not, just watch the replays, take some notes, because 71. This is a case study that was done by psychologist. There we go. Psychology. Psychology Today. Okay. So a case study was done by Psychology Today, and 71% of people admitted they ignore early red flags in past relationships due to physical attraction. So this topic, 100 red flags versus one fine face, is really important, because a lot of times we see that fine face, men and women, and we ignore those red flags. Now I'm going to pass it over to Nikki Talk.
All right, so some red flags for women, and women, they're going to be probably a little upset if they was to hear some of these things. Some women would be upset, right? Accountability. I think if a woman, she can't take accountability, and I'm not saying she got to immediately take it, because sometimes we got to sit on something and be like, dang, you know what, I was wrong, right? You know, but it definitely should. It should definitely come back, and she'd be like, oh, you know what, I was wrong. Yeah, you know, just taking accountability for what she's going through or what she's done, versus saying, well, especially because it's accountability. It's one thing to take accountability in a conversation that, you know, like, say I disrespected you, Prime, and then I'd be like, oh, you know what, I was wrong, I should never say it like that, right? But it's another thing to always blame our past on the way that we. So that's like even another level of accountability. Don't keep blaming your past on the way that you are, because eventually, like, you've been doing the same thing. Yeah, I understand the trauma from the past, and we understand that. But one day we gotta pick up and move on and get better, right? Change
Absolutely. An apology without changed behavior is manipulation.
Oh yeah, definitely. Another thing is, you know, look at the friends you have. The friends are like a bunch of drama.
Single?
Chaotic. I'm not going to say single. I'm not going to say single. No, they ain't. He just throwing the single woman out already.
My bad.
No. But if the women are just very, like, you know, they don't know how to have, like, disagreements verbally, you know, or without.
Contentious.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
you know, like, they want to fight. You know, they're the girls in the street fighting on
Ratchet.
video.
Hey, that's
so.
Come on.
That type of stuff. If that's her friends, you might want to be a little careful. Just, you know, because with that, you don't want a woman in your space that, you know, is like that likes drama, and she put you in a bad situation as a man.
Oh,
that can become very dangerous.
You know, I want you to keep going, because, you know, you're giving out some gems, but I remember hearing this song. I can't think of the lady who sings it, but every time I listen to it in the car, it blows my mind. But she says, you don't play with my man, or I'm gonna get violent, or something like that. And so,
don't you play with my girl?
No.
I'm gonna be the one to bring it to you.
That's an older song.
Oh no, that's Don't Mess With My Man.
But you know what song I'm talking about.
No, I don't know the new one though.
I gotta figure out how that song goes.
They got some crazy songs out here.
What threw me off about it is that, you know, she's basically talking about, you know, don't tell my man happy birthday. Oh, I'm that petty. Don't tell him happy birthday. Why you happy he was born? Yeah. You know, don't tell him you happy to see him. His jokes ain't that funny. Stop laughing so hard.
Wow.
I get it.
No,
and
I get it.
But
I'm not saying we should be like that, but I'm gonna say why I get it.
Go ahead.
But she ends it off with, you know, if you do these things, you don't mess with me, I'm gonna get violent. And I just think to myself, what man finds that attractive? Like, why would you want a woman who is this contentious, this ready to just jump and attack? Like, that is gonna be nothing but problems. Like, that means anywhere you gotta go, you just hoping that, man, we don't find somebody who got, you know, RBF, or, you know, say something that's on the borderline of an insult, or you gonna be on YouTube and Instagram.
I think because men are more territorial.
Yeah.
So, and today's man don't really understand what a woman should be like. So when they start seeing territorial women, it's like,
we can confuse it as if they love us
they
real
can
hard.
relate to that, right?
I feel you.
But women shouldn't be like that. Now, the reason why I say I get like why she's acting like that is because I don't know this woman from Adam and Eve, but she most likely done those things to get him, and she feels like the women that she surround herself around do the same thing. So she's like, I know your tactics.
Gotcha.
These are your tactics. Don't try this on my man. And her view of what a man looks like is simple. You know, like he's gonna, if you tell him happy birthday, he's gonna be in your DM.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if that wasn't her fear, she wouldn't be responding in that sense.
Yeah, but then that just shows that you got the wrong type of guy. Then that at the end of the day, you shouldn't even be with him because
I wouldn't disagree.
like
Well, I
you
don't know
even
that
trust
woman.
him.
I don't know that she is the right woman. I think that might be the bigger problem.
I don't think that either one of them are the right person.
I don't know that. I don't know
if-
we know enough about the guy
'cause
to
if he-
really say he's not the good guy.
If
But
he can move that quick from a happy birthday,
We do know enough about the guy to know
No,
that he's
like-
not.
he's not doing
wrong.
that.
Because the right guy, a good guy, wouldn't go for her. But I see what you're saying, though. You're right.
yeah, they both trash.
Whoa.
they both meant for
They
each
both
other.
need help. We're gonna say that.
Oh,
They both
man.
got to get
We
over
gonna
it.
see.
But let's see. Let's see. What's the next one? The next one I have. What?
Oh,
I'm giving it-
Go ahead. I know we finished.
I
We
was gonna say
talked
I
over your red
got
flags.
one to help out if you need one.
Oh.
I got some more red flags
Yeah,
for
I like this
men.
one. So yeah, controlling or manipulative. And the thing is, if this woman have several red flags. I think one red flag, people gonna have things that they working on, right? And that you're gonna have to get through and stuff like that. This is the fact that they can take accountability and work on these things. So it's just if they have multiple ones, you might not want to deal with somebody that has multiple ones and really, really big ones, right? But controlling or manipulative behavior, and different things like that. And I think that's one thing with us women we deal with. We like to control things. I think it's just like a thing.
Safety mechanism.
Yeah, that's like a thing that we have. Like we like to. Yeah, so I think all women probably deal with that. So like me myself, I'm like, I'd be like, oh wait, breathe. You ain't gotta worry about it. Like it's okay if it go like that, right? So yeah.
I think all humans deal with that. But as we grow in wisdom, we learn that there's a time for it. Just like if me and Edgar Prime playing a game of spades, both of us are going to want to control the board. You know what? A better thing would be to say if we were all playing basketball, me and Prime were on the same team playing basketball, we will all want to control the game. And we talked about this on our first podcast. We would see, like, when my wife and I would go to the younger kids' basketball games, we would see, like, all the younger kids want to be able to control the game. So that means that they keep the ball in their hand. They want to dribble the ball up the court. They want to show everybody what kind of skills they have instead of focusing on the team.
Right.
So, but in that situation, the team gets better when they realize, I can't always be the one who controls the game. I can't
100%.
I can't be the point guard. I can't be the shooting guard. I have to be the small forward. I have to stay in my lane, play my position. I can't be the coach. You know what I'm saying? But once you understand that shows that you're growing in your maturity.
No, I completely agree with you. I was at, this is part of why I love football so much, is that in football requires a level of trust that you don't necessarily need to have in a lot of other team sports. But in football, no one player can really dominate the sport. So, if you're a running back, you have to depend on your offensive line. Quarterback, you definitely got to depend on your offensive line. On the defense, you're depending on everybody to the left of you and everybody to the right of you. And you will notice that when you have less competition, you can go more out of your responsibilities because the opponents aren't as good. But as soon as the competition gets better, you quickly figure out that we are only as strong as the sum of our parts. not just in me being Superman. Because me being Superman is exploitable. Because one of us is mighty, but together we can really do something powerful.
Facts.
Yeah, definitely. And the last red flag I definitely will give, if somebody has a substance abuse problem, if they on drugs.
Well, yes.
I think that's like the biggest red flag. Like,
man and
you might
women.
not want it. Yeah,
Man and women.
That's across the board. So go ahead, Richard.
I forgot my red flag, y'all.
All right. So since you don't got one, for the ladies, I would add this one. Kevin Samuels coined this term, sign language. If she has a tendency or she likes to absorb content, you see this, even if she doesn't talk to you this way, but you see her deal with her family or her friends this way, shame, insults, and the need to be right. Shame, insults, and the need to be right. If those are her main ways of getting her point across, that is a huge red flag. It's only going to cause you trouble.
That's good. That's good. I think that's
So
a, that's
did
a good
did
red
he
flag,
did
red
he
flag.
make that an acronym? Because it's sin.
Well, it's I'm sorry. It's shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right.
Oh, that's sign.
Sign.
Sign. Okay.
Thank you for calling me out. Yes, it's guilt.
All right. So now that we have the red flags out of the way, I'm gonna ask you. Well, it's not. We're gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
But who's more likely to look over red flags, men or women? In your opinion, I don't think we can make this facts. But in your opinion, and that's for everybody in the chat as well, who do you think are more likely to say, "Dang, that's a fine face. Forget them red flags"?
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say woman. Us. I think a lot of times because we desire to have someone, right? Like I think both men and women desire to have someone, but sometimes women, they will ignore a red flag about a person. Like a guy can tell a woman that, like, this ain't going nowhere. Like, I'm just letting you know, like, this is all we doing, right? And that woman will still continue with him. And that's only because she feels as though she's going to change his mind. There's going to be something about her that's going to make, look, Beatrice said women, there's something about her that that's going to make him change his mind. Like we just have that thought. Like we could know the guy is no good. We know he talking to Cindy. We know he talking to Ranisha. He talking to everybody. But at the same time, we're like, we gonna be the one. We'll ignore it all and look stupid in the process, and think back on it like, oh my gosh. And look, Ebony said woman too. Go ahead, Prime.
It's funny you mentioned that because I actually like this song. It's by Alicia Keys and it's called 101, and she's basically talking about how her and Swiss Beats got together. And she's kind of talking about the same thought process you're going down. Is that I know he's had a lot of these off and on relationships. I know he's had a lot of stands. I know he's made a whole bunch of promises he didn't keep. And I know there was 100 women before me, but I feel like 101 is going to be it. Now, granted, and to her point, they have been happily married as far as anybody can tell since that album came out. So she may be on to something, she may be not. But I do think it's very interesting that I do think women who have a tendency to view men in that way is that, even though you've kind of had this track record, I still think I could be the one. I feel like I could be the one that you want to spend your life with. I could be the one you want to commit to. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the opposite side, I don't think there's any men talking about, man, I would love to be number 101. We like, nah.
Yeah.
And typically, if we heard of anybody in our circle going to go be number 101, we're talking about you. Mm-hmm. We're like, man, you need help.
Right.
So I just think that's an interesting.
I like.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I agree. I think it is women because you find in a lot of situations where you see these couples and you see the man is just like he the worst man that you can be in a room with. This man's a killer, but he may have found him a good woman, who has the mindset that I think I can change him. And you have that more so, I believe you have that more so with women than with men.
Mm-hmm. And that women will stay with a man for that. You know, you brought up that song, but that would make me think about a song that we grew up listening to, "So What" by Sierra. And it's like, you know, it's like
Same
he got a
concept.
lot of, you know, pimps. He ain't nothing this, he ain't nothing but a dog or whatever. And she's like, "So what?" Because we be like so like delusional. Like, why are we like? And we used to sing that with our chest.
With the chest. So if I could play devil's advocate, I'd say it's the guys.
Let's hear it.
And I think it's the guys because as guys, we are used to kind of enduring. And as men, we experience true loneliness. You know, we experience that feeling that no one is coming to save you. Frankly, nobody cares about what happens to you more often than not. A lot of us have experienced the real situation of where someone, what's that old adage? Everyone who helps you isn't your friend, and everyone who harms you isn't your enemy. Like, we've had to experience that. And so we, to a point, had to develop a bit of a paranoia. And so when you finally find a woman who is interested within you and then meets most of the requirement and you can tolerate her being around, you tend to try and just, you know, cast off those red flags. Because I think a lot of men in that state of loneliness are in a state of lack. And so they don't have any expectations of the women they're with. They don't have any requirements of the women they're with outside of the fact that they are occasionally nice to them, moderately attractive. I mean, we talked on the last show about sexless marriages, so they're not even required to sleep with them.
Yeah. So I agree. It is. I guess it is challenging because men, most men are attracted to women because of what they see first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the beauty of a woman could instantly make a man say, "So
man," and a woman coming over and complimenting you, even if it's a lie, man, we don't hear it enough to be able to be like, "Ah, she playing me." It's just like, man, this is the nicest thing anybody done said to me. You know, what a year.
Which reminds me of my red flag. I got it, y'all. Now, I don't know how Prime gonna feel about this, but my red flag, I think, for men. So, ladies, if you are on a date with a man, and the first thing you learn about him is his sex life, that's a red flag. I'm gonna tell you why.
I agree.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because if the first thing you learn about him, and that first day is his sex life, it's because he have no other plans with you. That's one thing. Secondly, if the first thing you learn about him on that first day is his sex life, it's because he feel like that's the only good thing he got going for him.
That's a bar. I completely agree with you on that. I don't have what against that.
Again,
I completely agree.
This is why we say, this about to make Prime mad. This is why we say, wait. Don't give out your goodies so early. Because look, you're going it's going to be time for you to fight that gorilla with your 100 men, and you're going to realize it's a battle you cannot win because you're going to ignore all 100 of those red flags for that fine face and that, you know, the rest.
I don't know. I guess I'm
Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying.
Here's the thing. I'm not campaigning for women to sleep with men on the first date. That's not what I said.
No, I'm saying give a significant amount of time.
What I'm saying,
because I mean, let's be real. Can you really get to know somebody in a week or 2 weeks? Is that enough?
No,
because men and women, we put on a really good game face.
100%.
We really do. We put on a really good game face. I even was it on the show? Somebody, or maybe you sent me a video. This woman was like talking about how her friend called her up. It was a guy, you know, and he was like, "I need you to court this woman for me. I want you to tell me some things about her, so that when I date her, you know, I can look like the man, so he can score easy and all of this good stuff, you know." So she did that. She got all of the information she needed to do, and she She gave it to him, made him look good. This is what we do. This is what we do. So
Okay.
that woman could have felt like she know him because she felt like she knows herself and he's just like her.
Right.
So because of that experience, bam, he scored on the first night.
Okay. All right. Again, I feel like we're kind of bringing in disaster scenarios, and I feel like I'm getting nailed to the
That's
cross for this,
realistic
and it's
because
not my argument.
We play the score, don't we?
So we do play the score, but this is what my point is that as our roles in this game are different. And so as the woman, you're the goalie. As the man, I'm the striker. I'm trying to score. It's your job to keep me from scoring. Matter of fact, it's your job to make sure the right man scores. That's really more or less the point.
Right.
So what my argument is that I don't think that her sleeping with you should change how you view her on its own. I feel like there's other factors to consider in that. That's all I'm basically trying to say. Is
Gotcha.
because I do believe that there should be a place for genuine attraction. Now, to your point, you're 100% right, and that's why we're talking about these red flags. If the first thing that the guy talks about is his sex life, that is all he's viewing you as, and that's frankly that's the best he feels like he has to offer you. Otherwise, he wouldn't bring it up.
Right.
We only bring up those things because we think that you're going to be interested or impressed by it. And if that's
Right.
the first thing he comes up, not only does it show a lack of decorum, because I can't think of very many situations where in the first time you're meeting someone or having a discussion with them, you're bringing up the bedroom, can't really see that. So I would say typically lacking decorum as well.
Yeah, I think that's also a red flag with women. Because nowadays you got to say that about women.
Yeah.
Facts.
Man,
Yeah.
you got to say that.
Yeah.
Because, man, it's wild out here. Like, it's crazy. But that's another red flag. If a woman talking about that, then, you know, she's like, okay, she's out there. She's with the sexy reds in them. So
Now this is going
let her
this might get me in trouble. All right, now might be where y'all come back from me. I do, however, I think that a woman who's too eager to give it up on the first night is a red flag.
Wait.
too eager.
I think a woman who's too kind of forward with her sexualness, I do feel like that's a red flag.
That's kind of scary to me.
Yeah, but I
Yeah, that's
But that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Like,
Not only a red flag,
but it's
I'm adding to that. That's scary too.
yeah, it's like, why are you so
Yeah.
like? Is this spoiled? Like, is this going? Like, why you want to give it to me that bad? Like,
Like my enemy sent you or something.
yeah,
you up to something.
you up to something?
Yeah, nah, that definitely is some red flags. Beatrice said how deep his pockets are. Like, so if he's talking about how deep his pockets are, anything
That's
sexual
facts.
and dogging out exes, that's red
That's
flags.
facts.
That's
Oh,
true.
facts,
Yeah,
yes.
like,
That's
because
facts.
why do you feel like you got to talk about your ex so bad? Like,
Oh, that's
I
a
feel like
good one.
you.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
you the issue, you know, if that's the case. Like, something is off, because we shouldn't be talking about, like, you know, a breakup is a breakup. Then this person could have hurt you, but you ain't even healed yet if you still got to dog her out or whatever. So it's like, I don't want to deal with you.
No, I completely agree. I think if you with a man and he is just like talking trashly, I mean, very aggressively about his exes, that's a red flag. In the same way, it just the opposite with women is as if they're never the problem in their relationship. You know, if they're always the one who did everything right and everything bad just kind of happened to them, that's the other side of that red flag.
If he can't keep a job.
If he can't keep a job, I think that's also an important one.
Yeah, definitely a job. Because it's just a man thing. A man is going to want to be financially stable. So
Right.
Well, he should.
it's
He
one
should
thing about a
anyway.
woman, but, you know.
Now, I think it's important to talk about yellow flags. I don't think
Yellow flags.
Yellow flags,
Yellow-
yeah, because I don't think we talk enough about yellow flags. Like people in general, like everything is like a red flag. But let me tell you what I think a yellow flag is.
Okay, thank you.
I think a yellow flag is something that may be considered a red flag, but it's something that shouldn't be an automatic no. Like for instance, I'm gonna give you an example.
All right.
Sometimes we would say if he's like I'm gonna use one of yours. If he's late,
Right.
you know, that's a red flag.
Right.
But I'm gonna turn that into a yellow flag. I acknowledge the fact that I run late, but I'm specifically working on fixing that. So I acknowledge the fact that I'm late, but I'm working on it. I think it's a red flag. Let me finish.
All right, I'm gonna let you finish.
I think it's a red flag when we start saying things like, I know I go off on people a lot. I know I'm late all the time, but that's just me. Okay. Now, when that person say that's just me, you need to take that and take it for what it is instead of giving them the BOD. Right. Take it for what it is. But if they're saying this is something that I'm working on, at least you could actually inspect it, investigate, and see if it's really something that they're working on. Next time, are they showing up late? Oh, I see you're getting better now. You know what I'm saying? So if maybe, running late is not the perfect example, but there are some things that we work on because none of us are perfect. Just because you think it's a red flag, just because you acknowledge it as a red flag and this person is clearly working on it, I don't think we should deem it always as a red flag. Mm-hmm. Now, give me y'all take. I'm ready for it.
You got something you want me to go?
I did have something, but go ahead because it looked like he was ready.
Okay. So, since we're throwing in new terms, I'm going to throw in what I call a stop sign. So if he utters off, hey, I know I blow up on people. Hey, I'm late. I know it. That's just me. That's a stop sign. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Just get up. That's it. Yeah. Now, the reason I would say that that's still a red flag is, one, I'm talking about chronically late. So, I mean, you late to church, you late to the gym, you late waking up, you late to dinner, you late to the date, you late to sleep.
Wait.
And then, so, like, even if we take that a step further and you say, I'm working on that, how are you working on not being late? All that means is you either need to plan effectively or leave earlier.
Wait, so that's precisely.
So if you're not doing those, like, I was listening to a podcast and the guy said something. He said this, and I was like a bar. He was like, women make the mistake of dating men on potential, which potential on its own isn't bad, but you have to date a man who's good for you now with the potential to be greater, not a man who's not good for you now with the potential that he'll be good for you later. Mm-hmm. That's just false hope.
Yeah, so sometimes I think we can build unrealistic red flags. Like you said, chronically. I didn't mention chronically late.
I know. That's why I was.
Right. So I wasn't talking about, but a woman could say, you're late, which is, because I'm like that, with being late, that could be a red flag for me. But
it's disrespectful, though.
Yeah, it is. Your same perspective, my wife would tell you, that's my same perspective. A lot of people who know me know I say that. But your circumstances, if your circumstances change in the last few months, I can see a man saying, you know what, I'm late, but I'm working on that. You know what I'm saying? Because now I have to become accustomed to now having kids and getting to work on time. Now, being in a different area and being on time. But the very fact that he acknowledged it, I think people should be mindful of these things when you're considering things to be a red flag.
I agree with you. I think the reason I brought up the stop sign is, to me, I think I use the stop sign the way you think I use the red flags. Mm-hmm. For me, the red flag really operates more like a yellow flag. Gotcha. Basically, this is, hey, this could be a problem. Let's investigate further. Let's ask more questions. Right. So now, if you got 12 red flags, you unlikely to pass this test.
Right. I like that.
But if you got 3 of them, and as I look into them, I can see you actually are working on them. You are aware of them. You are accountable. Those are things we might be able to work around. But if you basically, want to try and guilt trip me into being on your side, okay, that's a stop sign. We're not even playing this game no more.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what else I think is a red flag? This is the biggest red flag.
The biggest?
The biggest. Now, this is my biggest red flag. You don't have to be fair
back
about
off of it now. Don't back off of it now.
No, I don't think you would disagree. I don't think you would disagree. But being green is a red flag.
All right, I'm going to need you to elaborate. Are you talking about for men or for women? And I need you to elaborate.
In general. Period.
Okay, you got to elaborate.
So, so being green is like you believe anything anybody say.
Okay, that's naive.
Naive. Naive.
So naive. Then, you know what? I can follow you.
So, are you familiar with the term being green?
Yes.
So, how would you explain being green?
I would consider someone green anytime
Who don't know anything.
or rather they don't know how things actually work. So it's like if you're excited to get a job at Microsoft, you've gotten hired at Microsoft, but how you feel that job is not necessarily reality of that job. It won't be until you've been in that job for about 3 to 6 months before you can actually know about the job. Because there's things that you don't know.
Okay, so if
So I think of a green person as a person who is at the very beginning, but they haven't fell on their face to know, where the floor is.
let me ask you this. So if you went into you wouldn't consider somebody who can't read the room as being green?
I think that shows a social limitation. I think reading the room is a skill. So I guess you could call it green. I just don't know if I would use like the encompassing term green for that.
Well, I would say naive. We're gonna stick with naive. So being naive is a red flag to me. That's one of the biggest ones.
Why would that be a red flag in women?
Because if a woman is always naive, then you're gonna find yourself in a position where you're always explaining things to them, and they're always being sucked into somebody's trap or being taken advantage of.
I mean, I agree that that definitely could pose an issue.
As a
but
man,
could
it's
she
harder
also
to
be
put-
could she also be reserved and naive? So she doesn't open up to a lot of people. She doesn't entertain a lot of people because she knows that she's a bit naive.
That's not
so
naive.
she's very selective in who she deals with.
No,
That's not naive.
That couldn't be
if
naive?
If a woman is, let's just say gullible, because I like that. Ebony should say being gullible, because obviously gullible. The definition of gullible is easily tricked or fooled, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So a gullible woman can also have the wrong friendships, different things like that. So you have the wrong people in her circle and stuff like that think that they're good for her, but they're not good for her.
And as a man, it would be harder for you to
yeah.
protect that woman
then
because
you're like, oh, then it could get
she's
to,
always walking into many traps.
yeah.
True, but she also could be so gullible that she's just gonna believe whatever it is you say. It wouldn't it be a lot easier to protect somebody who's just gonna trust what you say?
No, so being
No,
gullible is not
no.
just restricted to just you.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
You know,
right.
so like I can tell, like I can say, hey, don't go out at night because out here in this neighborhood they're killing people.
Right.
You know, somebody else could come up behind me and say, yeah, they only kill people on Thursdays and Fridays in this neighborhood.
Right,
If
right.
she's, I know that's unrealistic.
It's
but
unrealistic. But
now
I feel what
she's
you're saying.
outside on Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, and Saturday because Thursdays and Fridays are apparently the only days that
People get killed.
people get killed.
So I would counter you with this. Because see, to me, that sounds like we are at equal planes. And so she's not weighing you as her man any differently than anybody else. I agree. That kind of gullible is a problem. But so let's take an example for like your children, for instance. You're going to tell your children, do not get in the car with anybody you don't know. Matter of fact, don't even get in the car with somebody you don't know that I didn't tell you were supposed to get in the car with. So even if Uncle John shows up and says, hey, your parents asked me to pick you up, what's their response supposed to be?
No, they're not going to do it. But that's not gullible, though.
Yes, but here's the thing. Children are gullible. Like, I can give you candy to get in back of my van works because children are gullible.
But that's a child.
Gullible is gullible.
But as a child can be gullible because they are still multiple and you still teach them and then they end up learning
Yeah, so
that
that's
if
true.
an
So
adult
a
is
child-
gullible, that's a problem.
Okay, so this is how I look at it. A child's gullible is here, get in the van, I got candy, everything's gonna be safe. An adult's gullible is if you get a BBL, that's gonna make you more attractive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still gullible.
That's why it's a problem when you get older.
When we do that, bruh,
When
some
you're
people-
older and you're gullible,
It's
it's a
still
problem.
gullible.
Y'all, it's
An
crazy.
adult's gullible.
You got the video ready? All right, y'all. So it's time for prime time. With Edgar Prime, you guys. So But yeah, because this gullible, y'all. Somebody drop the definition of gullible and let us know if it's
A red flag.
a red flag for an adult to be gullible versus a child.
Now, I would agree on the men's side, 100% on all of those fronts. But on the woman's side, I don't necessarily agree.
No. Until it backfires on you. But all right, we got Prime. We got a little video. Hold up 1 second. And
All right, we gotta switch the camera.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
There we go.
What's up?
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
Of course you can lie to me. And you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat
You
you the way I
must.
treat him.
You must. I've got the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell because I love you. I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me.
I can't give a performance all day in the job and come home and give a performance all night in the house.
Okay, so one of the performances will stop.
Yes, but who's going to pay the rent?
The rent will have to
I'm
get paid.
The price of the rent is my smile. If I love you, I can't lie to you.
All right. So we're going to post the link to the clip in the chat so that you guys can watch it on your own. But there was just a few parts that I wanted to touch on. I love it because I felt like she gave an example of a logical, emotional argument. She said, hush, don't explain. And I think that shows part of the disconnect men and women have is she is as our woman, they are basically telling you that I need that same level of consideration. I need you just as present. I need the best of you just like you give every other person in your life. But under the illusion that we're being vulnerable, that we're somehow offering more, we end up giving the worst of ourselves to the person we care about the most. And when you're constantly feeding negativity into someone, how can you then be surprised or confused when you start to only get that negativity out, when you stop getting that peace, when you stop getting that appreciation, because all you're filling her with is the negative parts of you, the worst parts of you. And so this video was filmed in a rougher time for men in general. But one thing I would say is that it's a symbol that as men, we need reflection. Because she's bringing a real problem. And I think that for women, their big questions are why and what. She don't care how you do it. But she needs that, and she's communicating that. Whereas men, we deal more with the when and how. He is struggling with, I can't do all of this. I can't be this person at work and then come home and be this person at home. But she's like, you got to anyway. And I think as men, and that's why I'm so big on the reflections, and I encourage all the men to join the reflection group, is that when we can unpack the things that are on our hearts, when we can unpack the things that we have in our minds, we don't have to carry so much weight. When we can assign meaning to our own suffering and we're not attaching it or grabbing it from somewhere else. She is not the reason that I'm suffering. My children are not the reason that I'm suffering. I'm suffering because I need to be strong. And because I am strong, I can take care of and satisfy my wife. Because I am strong, I can develop and grow my lineage. Because I am strong, I can help my community. So when we can do that internal work as men, and we need that in reflection, when we can find that value in ourselves and understand why we are doing it, what is our reason for getting up in the morning? Because it has to start with us. Otherwise, we end up like him. And it's always a trade-off. And I think a lot of men from that generation, they chose to pay rent. And as a consequence, their wives suffered. And then those feelings of being not catered to, those feelings of being not valued, those feelings of not being poured into just followed down the stream. But I believe as men, we can be better, but it starts with doing the work, because if you can get out of the habit of trying to please any and everyone and just focus on what your purpose is, when you stop giving yourself to everyone, you can give yourself to the people and the things that matter. And when you can do that, you can actually show up to your wife.
Man.
Yeah. Look, before you get into the wrap up, I got to read some of these comments because y'all was having this argument in the chat. But Beatrice said to you, Edgar Prime, she said it's about learning to understand, acknowledge, and then balance the wants and the needs for both sides. And Ebony said facts, right? But I got to go into these comments about these, this naive, green, gullible debate that we was having. So Ebony, she said, well, first Sheila, she said it means to fall for anything. Ebony said she agreed with the definition, and not being able to read the room can be considered a lack of social skill. Sorry, naive and being gullible can I guess get you into abusive relationship from experience.
Yeah,
I myself had a tendency to be gullible when I was younger. When you don't have someone to teach you to pick up on stuff, which is so true. This is why I say it's not good for a woman to be gullible, because you can get them in different situations. They have bad friends. They can have bad relationships. They'll follow the wrong type of man, and we see that happen often. Herbalist Table said, no, it's not a red flag. Some people gullible behavior stems from innocence, and that's true. It can.
That's
stem
what I'm
from
talking about.
But at the same time, it can still be a red flag, because what man wants to take on that responsibility of having a gullible woman with them, and then you have to help her through
What do you
it
mean?
all.
She gonna be funny?
But that's sad. That is sad. See, you know what?
There's a lot that comes with,
She gonna be funny.
Oh my God.
That's a lot.
She gonna
that
be
comes-
lighthearted. She gonna hear all your jokes. You gonna be the funniest man alive. I can think of a lot of benefits to your woman being gullible. But to your point about the bad relationships, I think that's more of an example of, as a woman, you need the covering of a man, because that's what's gonna protect you from those bad relationships that your gullible nature is gonna get you into.
I guess, but
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up.
wrapping it up. Hold on.
Nah, that was a good show. Yo, you was about to say something?
Oh yeah, she ain't done.
I was coming. Hold on. Sorry, I was trying to get you together and get you ready. But yeah, so always it's time for the blackout.
Thank you, April. April say I enjoyed the show tonight.
Thank you.
Time for the blackout.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Yes, yeah. Look, really, shout out to all you guys for tuning in, because y'all definitely are the heartbeat of the show. I love reading the comments. We love reading the comments, and y'all definitely keep it hype. So yeah, time for the blackout with Richard Roots. Go ahead.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in to KBOB 89.9. This is the Black Love Club. And if you have learned anything today, I think it would be good for us to conclude with, don't ignore the red flags. So statistics show that 71% of people actually have admitted of ignoring the red flags. So we would just encourage you not to be wooed by a pretty face, smooth skin, and a nice body. But just get to know that person so that you can know that person and grow with that person. And with that, black women,
We love you.
And black men, we love you. And black child, you're golden. And that's it for the Black Love Club. Until next time, you guys, we see y'all. Peace.